Picking up where we left off, we have a group called levels. And inside that group are 6 different levels adjustment layers that are all identical, and they're all default, which means they do nothing whatsoever. Let's do something about that. We need to create a new action. We'll come down to levels and we'll create a new action below it, and we'll call it levels settings. So with the record button active in level settings, what we're going to do, make sure all the visibility eyeballs are off except for the bottommost layer. We'll click on that so we make sure it's visible and it's active. So double click in order to pull up the properties panel, and I'm going to have to ask you to trust me. I did some math, and I'm just going to walk you through settings for the first 5 layers. Do it just like this. This 0 is highlighted. We're going to leave that there. Hit Tab twice, and Tab takes us between these text fields, and change 255 to 30. And then hit Tab again. We could hit Return, but that accepts that. Then, carefully, watch, do this. Turn that off. Turn the visibility off. Turn the next layer on, make it active by clicking on levels, and turn the eyeball on, the visibility. Then we have, when you click on this, we have the properties panels already active. Highlight the 0, change it to 56. I know. Just trust me. Tab, tab, 86. Tab or return. Turn the visibility icon off. Move to the next layer. Visibility on. With that layer active, notice, see how it's selected? Come down here, change the first number to 112, 112. Tab, tab, 142. Now you notice that there's been 30, a difference of 30 between the first number and the last number, the blacks and the whites. And we have left the gray midpoint right in the middle. Again, these are default settings. We can always come back and change. But for right now, we're going to keep moving along. Visibility off, activate the next layer, turn it on, click to make sure this is active, and change these numbers to 168, tab, tab, 198, tab. Off, up, on, click, highlight, 225, tab. We already have this set at 255. The last but not least is I want to make a layer that's experimental. I want to push you guys, and we're going to do the same thing in the black and white. Right now we still have the default black and white selected, and that's okay, because I want to show you the difference between default and other options in black and white. So for this final layer, let's turn visibility off, move up, click, and now what do we do? What do we do? What happens if we just move the gray midpoint? This is 128 gray, halfway between black and white. This is that 50% gray we use when we make our dodge and burn layers. And change the blending mode. What happens if we drag this way? Well, is that different than this layer? We could turn this off and this on and this off and this on, but there's a better way to work. Now, we're not necessarily accepting this as anything other than a default action. And this 013, completely random. To be honest, I had no idea I was going to leave it here. I don't know if I was going to move it over here, or if I was going to move this point. This is random. This is experimental. And it's the only purpose for this is so we learn. We learn something new on every single texture because every single texture is going to be different to some degree because of the base image is going to be different. So now I'm going to turn that off. We want to clean up. We want to clean house, so to speak. Turn that off. Let's come down to 2A, make sure it's on and that level is active. And we can, nothing else is on. All the rest of the visibilities are off. We can twirl this shut, open up our actions, stop recording, and then you can see how many steps we took. And those steps were simplified because we had our custom keyboard shortcut. Pretty cool, huh? Last but not least, we're going to come into layer comps to wrap up part 2. But part 2 is just sticking our toe in the water. We are getting nowhere near where we can go with this. And I hope you're playing along and learning because this is going to be epic.